Okay. So, what's happening is the technology that's behind Bitcoin is growing in users. It started back in 2009 where it was introduced to the world, and the idea was to be able to have a digital system that operates outside of the existing system and eliminating the middleman. So when you're sending money, or when you were passing money back and forth in real life, you gave someone a piece of paper that said $100, and there was no one in that interaction except for you and the receiver. But when you went online, all of a sudden you needed a middleman, and that middleman was costly, and the system wasn't so efficient. So they looked to replace that system, and that's what Bitcoin was. That's what the blockchain was. And that has been growing now for over 15 years, and it's becoming more and more the evidence of this being the future of transactions is here. We know that this is happening. And so when we created this company, we created it to be the future of banking. And so we've created an infrastructure, we call it an ecosystem, where it connects to different parts, and together it creates what we believe to be the future of finance. So we built everything around two main components. One is a switch, it's called the core banking system, and now we have our own blockchain. And through that, we've created a crypto payment gateway called Miracle Pay. That company has signed contracts with Ingenico, Verifone, Pax, NCR, and those companies are companies that have created devices that allows merchants to accept payment. So if you're out and shopping around, you'll see the machine. If you look at the brand on the machine, more often than not, it's going to be an Ingenico, a Pax, NCR, Verifone. And there's over 100 million machines out in the world. And we have contracts with them where our software is embedded in their system and connected to their system. So if the merchants wants to receive crypto as a payment for their services or goods, they can do that through Miracle Pay. So we have the opportunity to have up to 100 million merchants using our system. Of course, 100 million is, we're not going to achieve that, but if we can get 1 million or 2 merchants onto our platform over the next 3 to 5 years, then the revenue on something like that will be absolutely amazing. And then we have assets that tie into that. So it'd be sort of like being able to have a small piece of every transaction that happens in millions of stores going to your particular asset that we call a node. We have an online solution for crypto and banking. So you can actually take your crypto onto a debit card, and that system is called Miracle Neo. We have our own wallets. So if people are familiar with crypto, there's Trust Wallet, there's MetaMask, there's Exodus, and Miracle has its own wallet system called Miracle Wallet. EquiToken is a platform that tokenizes assets. So if you think of how the world looks now, most of the things that are owned, if you need to prove it, it's found on a piece of paper, on some sort of contract. If the title to your car is on what like a pink slip in the United States, you have the ownership of your house on a deed, and then the other proof sits somewhere in an office in the city. Now, the future is actually going to be that you prove ownership in a digital way on the blockchain because it's more secure and it makes that ownership easier to transfer. And so there's going to be a revolution in how things are owned in the future. And we have the technology and the infrastructure to create that contract and to help people digitize the ownership. And we have already a project there, which is an airport in Romania, and we've done a lot of vetting, and we're sort of 75% done of confirming that deal, and that will be the biggest tokenized asset that the industry has ever seen, and we're involved in that. We have our transactional capacity through Miracle Chain, the decentralized exchange, and a centralized exchange where people can trade tokens, either do that through a decentralized way or a centralized way. People who are familiar with farming and liquidity provision, we've built the first ever software that allows someone who's trading that way to use leverage when they trade in liquidity. Stake Node is a lending protocol. So if you have a few Bitcoins hanging around, not a bad idea to have that. And you need maybe to have some of that money for your needs in your life, and you don't want to sell your Bitcoin, then you can stake your Bitcoin in the lending protocol and take the loan against the value so that you don't have to sell your Bitcoin. And we have that protocol launching in the next couple of weeks. Then we have a gaming protocol called Phoenix Arena. We're going to talk about that today. We have an automated system. This can be something that companies can use to automate their payments to their employees. You can use this for companies that have an international footprint where each person receives an NFT in their wallet. And because the NFT is in that particular wallet, they will receive the payment that goes to that particular NFT. We use this ourselves. And a lot of our people have this for their distribution from the nodes that they own with us. And we have thousands of people who are receiving payments on a daily basis, all through Mintera. And this is all done through what's called the smart contract. And this is what the future looks like in payment distribution because it has a worldwide footprint. We're also in the final stages of building the industry's first credit rating based on what activity you're doing in crypto in Web3. And that is headed up by Paul Randall. He's one of the top data analysts in the credit space. And this is about to launch in April. And this is a massive project. A lot of the people who have come to us as a company are coming because of that project. Then we have Bellator, which is a marketing and sales arm that spreads the word about MetaTerra and Miracle's products. And that is the company that I am the CEO of. And that is the company that provides an opportunity for people. And we'd like to consider ourselves a fintech agency of the future where you can actually be part of our movement and what we're doing and really create a career in this field, which is an exploding industry, sharing about these products, building a network, which is the option that people have when they come to us. So we have two types of people that come to us. One is someone who loves our products. They want to have passive income. And so they purchase an asset with us that pays passively. Then we have people who do that, but also wants to refer and represent these products. And that is the person who then would start a fintech agency with us.